When dementia comes too soon, the hope of neuroplasticity in young onset cases. Picture this. You're only 48 years old. You've built a career, raised kids, maybe just started dreaming about early retirement. Then one day you forget the password you've typed into your work computer for 10 years. At first it's funny. Then it happens again, only now you can't remember how to drive to your best friend's house, the same one you've visited for decades. Eventually a neurologist says the words you never thought you'd hear before the age of 65. It's dementia. Young onset dementia. Affecting people in their 40s and 50s is rare but devastating. For many, it feels like a cruel interruption. A thief breaking in long before anyone expected it. Careers are cut short, relationships strained, identities shaken. But here's where science gives us hope. The human brain is not a static machine that simply rusts with age. It's dynamic, adaptable, and capable of rewiring itself. A property called neuroplasticity. And while there is no magic cure for dementia, neuroplasticity is opening doors to possibilities we once thought impossible. Slowing decline, regaining lost skills, and even forging new paths when old ones are blocked. So today, let's dive into the world of young onset dementia and explore how neuroplasticity can offer resilience, recovery, and hope. Part 1. Tom's interrupted journey. Tom was 52 when he noticed something was wrong. A high school teacher, he loved crafting elaborate lesson plans. But one semester, he couldn't remember the sequence of topics he'd been teaching for years. He brushed it off as stress until the day he forgot his way home from school. After months of tests, he was diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer's disease. Tom spiraled into despair. "I'm too young for this," he said to his wife. "This is supposed to happen in my 80s, not now." But Tom's neurologist introduced him to a different way of thinking. Instead of seeing dementia as the end of his mental story, they reframed it as a challenge to his brain's plasticity. If the brain is capable of rewiring, maybe he could learn to adapt. Maybe he could strengthen what remained. Tom joined a program combining cognitive training, aerobic exercise, music, mindfulness, and learning new skills. Slowly, something shifted. He started remembering names again. His mood improved. His students noticed he was more engaged. Tom still had dementia. But neuroplasticity allowed him to rewrite his story, not as a victim of decline, but as an active participant in shaping his brain's response. Part 2. What makes young onset dementia different? Unlike late onset dementia, which often appears after 65, young onset dementia strikes people in the prime of life. The symptoms can look different too. More difficulty with planning and decision-making. Emotional or behavioral changes earlier on. A faster impact on careers and family roles. The cruel irony is that people with young onset dementia often have healthier bodies. They're physically active, raising kids, paying mortgages. So the mismatch between their strong bodies and their struggling minds feels even harsher. But here's the silver lining. Because their brains are still relatively young, neuroplasticity may be more powerful in these cases. Younger brains tend to adapt faster, form new pathways more easily, and respond better to stimulation. That means with the right strategies, the trajectory of decline can be reshaped. Part 3, the science of rewiring. So, how exactly does neuroplasticity work in young onset dementia? Think of the brain as a massive highway system. Dementia creates roadblocks, damaged neurons, tangled pathways, and broken communication. But neuroplasticity builds detours, side streets, alleyways, new connections that allow traffic to keep flowing. For example, learning a new language strengthens networks across multiple brain regions. Exercise boosts brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a chemical that encourages neurons to grow and connect. Meditation and mindfulness reduce stress, calming inflammation that can worsen dementia. Music and rhythm activate deep memory circuits, allowing access to information that feels lost. In young onset cases, where brains are not yet burdened by decades of aging, these interventions can be especially effective. It's not about reversing dementia completely, but it's about building resilience, reclaiming skills, and extending quality years. Part 4. The stories of change. Let's look at a few real stories that highlight the power of neuroplasticity. Sarah. The accountant Sarah was 49 when frontotemporal dementia began eroding her ability to focus. She was forced to leave her job, But she refused to stop learning. She took up painting, something she had never tried before. Within months, her neurologist noticed improvements, not just in mood but in her attention span. Painting had reactivated creative circuits that supported her weakened executive functions. David, the runner David, diagnosed at 55, turned to exercise. He began jogging daily, and his MRI scans showed improved blood flow and preserved brain volume compared to before. His neurologist credited his physical training for slowing his cognitive decline. Linda, the music lover. Linda lost her ability to follow conversations, but discovered she could still sing every lyric of her favorite Beatles songs. Her family turned this into therapy. They sang with her daily, and slowly, she began recalling words in conversations. Music built a bridge where dementia had burned one down. These are not miracles. They are the brain's natural plasticity at work, proof that even in the face of young-onset dementia, growth and adaptation are possible. Part 5. Practical pathways to rewiring. So, what can someone with young-onset dementia actually do to harness neuroplasticity? Here are evidence-based practices. Move your body. Daily exercise is the single most powerful brain booster. Walking, dancing, swimming, anything that gets the heart pumping builds new brain cells and connections. Learn something new. Don't just repeat old skills. Push your brain out of its comfort zone. Try a musical instrument, painting, coding, or even cooking new recipes. Novelty forces new neural pathways. Connect deeply with people. Isolation accelerates dementia. Regular conversations, laughter, and group activities keep the brain socially engaged and flexible. Use the power of music. Songs from youth can unlock memory pathways. Build daily routines around singing, clapping, or playing instruments. Mindfulness and stress reduction. Stress releases cortisol, which damages the brain. Meditation, yoga, or even mindful breathing can protect neurons. Diet and sleep. Brain health is physical health. Diets rich in omega-3s, antioxidants, and quality sleep all support neuroplasticity. Each of these isn't just good for you, they actively reshape the brain's wiring. Part 6. A shift in perspective. Young-onset dementia is devastating. Yes, but when framed through the lens of neuroplasticity, it's not just about decline, it's about adaptation. It's about focusing not on what is lost, but on what can still be built. Imagine a house damaged by fire. The kitchen may be gone, but you can still repair the living room, decorate the garden, and even build new extensions. That's neuroplasticity. The brain may have scars, but it still has rooms worth inhabiting and spaces worth growing. For families, this perspective changes everything. Instead of grieving every lost ability, they can celebrate new skills, cherish new routines, and find joy in the sparks of connection that remain. Closing message to viewers: if you or someone you love is facing young-onset dementia, remember this: the brain is not broken beyond repair. It is resilient, adaptable, and capable of surprising growth. Neuroplasticity cannot erase dementia, but it can reshape its impact, creating moments of clarity, connection, and joy. So let's change the way we talk about dementia. Let's see it not only as loss, but as a journey where resilience can still bloom. And if this story gave you hope, or shifted the way you think about the brain, we'd love for you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to our channel for more stories. Science made simple, and real tools you can use to nurture your brain and the brains of the people you love. Together, let's keep finding sparks of light, even in the darkest corners.